Hi, I'm Ellie from Sawdust and Stitches, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing our 12 Days of Christmas series, and we are going to sew up the Atlantis Pouch by Needle and Anchor. Thank you, Needle and Anchor, for allowing me to use your pattern for a tutorial. This is a free pattern, and it does come with 4 sizes of the pouch. So there's a small, a medium, and a large. Wonderful pattern, super quick sew, wonderful little gift. You can hang it on a tree. You can give it to somebody with a gift card. You can also fill it with candy. If you have a kids class you want to sew something small for, or a teacher, all great ideas. So if you like this video, I ask if you would please hit the thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, click that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get sewing. Atlantis Pouch. I'll go over the pattern pieces. You need 2 exterior pieces, accent pieces, and 2 contrast pieces. Today, all of the fabric I am using is from Tulip Bee. You need 2 linings. You need a zipper cut to size, a zipper tab, and a pull. Sorry, a zipper pull and a tab. And then for the optional wristlet, you also need the D-ring and the D-ring connector. Or if you just want to attach it to something and it doesn't have to be a strap. And then for the strap, you need your strap material and a swivel hook. All right, so let's get started. We are going to start with the zipper, and we are going to do the butler method for the end, one of the ends of the zipper. I am going to go ahead and just light my edges, melt them down a little bit, make sure they don't fray on me. Then for the butler method, you're going to split that zipper in half, a couple inches, 1.5 inches down, and about 3/4 to 1/2 inch. And you can mark the zipper if you want so it's even. You are going to fold that zipper back and then twist that zipper end to where it lines up. And then I always pin. It's about the only time I use pins because I don't like my fingers getting hurt. It seems like I always get poked with pins. I know, that's kind of the point of them, huh? Okay, so for the moment, we've got that held down. I'll rearrange that in just a little because it'll be fine. It's where it needs to be, but I need to, in order to sew it. All right, and then the other side, you're going to do the same. You're going to fold that in half, and then you're going to, the right half is always harder for me. Seems like there's always one half that's harder. Okay, so you're going to fold it back and then rotate that zipper towards the end, the zipper teeth on the end, to where you have that 90-degree angle. And once again, I'm going to pin that down. Now, some people do this and they burn the ends to keep them together, or they glue it or tape it or staple it. I'm going to baste it if I can get it to stay. I don't know what it is about the right side. It's always harder for me. There we go. I think I'll pin it with my left hand if I can. So I pin it close to those zipper teeth so that I can leave my pin in. Perfect. And you see the zipper ends pretty flush over here. If it wasn't, that's okay. We could always trim it after. I'm going to straighten that one out a little bit. It kind of got a little puckered while I pinned it. There we go. Better. All right. So see, our ends are flared out. See that? So I am going to take it to the machine and I am going to actually stitch it this way down on both sides, just in the seam allowance. So like about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the raw edge of the zipper, just to base it in place so I can use it later. All right. Use my handy dandy little holder tool here and make sure I don't stitch over that pin. All right, here we go. Whoop, hold my threads. There we go. Oops, it slipped. There we go. All right. So we have that one held in place. And we are gonna do the same thing on the other end, cutting threads. I do have a little bucket on the floor I throw threads in. I'm not just necessarily throwing them on the floor, just so you know. All right, and then we're gonna go to the other side, do the same thing. In the seam allowance, hold that down. And we are gonna base that together. All right. Perfect. If you have any overhang, you can trim that off or you can leave it. It's up to you, but there we go. There's our zipper. So now we're going to make sure our zipper is to the size that, cut to the size that the pattern recommends. So let me just do that really quick, because I didn't measure it before, because sometimes when you do that, you end up taking a little bit more off than you expect. So, all right, I'm going to cut that down. There we go. All right, and then I am gonna melt the end of the zipper just to seal that in so it doesn't fray. All right, perfect. So now we need to add our zipper. When we add the zipper, if you look at which tooth is the highest before you open it up, you want to make sure that that side of the zipper is on top when you put the pull on. And this little zipper is a bit trickier without it coming apart. So just look in the end, you can kind of see. Looks pretty good to me. All right, and there you have it. So there's your zipper ready to go. Now we're going to take our little zipper tab. And because I'm using raw edge material, I'm only going to fold it in half. I'm not going to fold it and then fold it again. So it is a little different than the pattern. If you have a raw edge quilt cotton type material, then follow the pattern. And I think it's just basically you're going to fold it in half with the raw edges towards the center. And once that's secured, you're going to fold it in half again. And then you're going to put it on your zipper. All right. So I'll trim that tape off because I got a little bit more than I needed. Perfect. Get rid of that sticky. I've been dealing a lot with tape lately and it isn't always happy with me. Perfect. There we go. All right, so I put on the long edge of my zipper tab, I put some double-sided tape. I'm going to take the double-sided tape off of one of those sides. And then I'm going to place it, let's see, where are you? Can you see me? There. I'm going to place it on the end of the zipper about at the center point. So I'm going to turn it over. Looks pretty good. I want my zipper straight this way. If this zipper is a little crooked, it's okay. Then I'm going to take the tape off the other end. Maybe. It works better with the weeding tool for me. I just feel like it always comes off easier. All right, so then I'm just gonna take that zipper tab and I'm just gonna fold it over. I'm gonna try and match the top, but if the bottom is a little under, it's okay, because we're gonna sew along that, so it's gonna catch them both. So that's the next step, is we're gonna sew along that zipper tab right across it at about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance to tack that on. There we go. Perfect. Well, maybe it's not perfect. I had a few problems with my machines yesterday, and I'm wondering if it's sewing right now or if it's just me. We're gonna try that again. Yep, I don't think it's happy. Pause, please. One last time. Yeah, I'm gonna get that. I'll go back the other way and see what happens. Oh, that's not okay. Oh, maybe that's part of the problem. My husband rethreaded it, and maybe it just got caught funny. We're gonna hope that that's the problem, okay? Everybody hope with me that it's just not threaded right. Okay? That feels good. Feels like it's coming out right. Keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully it's not an issue. If not, we're gonna hop to the cylinder arm, and all the projects are gonna have to be on the cylinder arm, because I can't fix this right now. It seemed to be sewing just fine last night. So I'm gonna do that. I'm also gonna take the bobbin out and check the bobbin, make sure that's in there right, and that's not an issue. Looks to be good. Okay. Put the bobbin back in. All right. Let's try it. See what happens. Seems like it's doing okay. I don't know. It's always a surprise with sewing machines. Always a surprise. And it could be, I am going to change my needle, I think. All right, let's try this. See what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay, maybe it was just threaded wrong. Maybe the threading on it was funky, because that went well. All right, we're back in business. Thank you for being patient. All right. You're working with machines. Sometimes you don't get to pick. Okay, well, we're going to keep plucking along. All right, so now our zipper is ready to go. So we're going to set that zipper aside right now. And we are going to take our 4 exterior pieces, our contrast and our linings. And we are going to, well, I am going to, this is how I want them put together. You get to pick. So you could pick whatever layout you want. You can do that. You can do this. However you want to do that. I'm going to go with this look. All right, so I'm going to start with one exterior, one contrast, and I am going to line those long edges up, and I'm going to clip them together on the long edges. And then I'm going to sew the seam allowance that it states in the pattern. I know it's a free pattern, but go download it. You'll get all the measurements. All right. So here we go again. Let's hope that it's right, that the machine's right. All right, here we go. You know, after stuff like that, sometimes it makes you a little pedal shy. You don't want to push that pedal, thinking maybe something will go wrong. Get that out of the way. All right. I think, knock on wood, say a quick prayer. I think we're in business. Sounds good. My leathers or my vinyl's shifting a little bit. That's okay. We'll make it work. All right. Cut threads. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn that over, and we're going to press those seams, just finger press them down and out. And then we're going to turn it over. When we sew, we're going to make sure those seams stay flat, and we're going to top stitch on both sides of that seam. I love this top stitching technique. I just think it makes things look so finished when it's top stitched nice. I don't know, it could just be me, but I really like it that way. And to save a little bit of time and thread, I'm just going to come down here to the end and turn it and stitch across. That'll be in the seam allowance, so you're never going to see it. But it just, you know, rather than starting and stopping and starting and stopping, just goes faster. I am using Saya Swag Silver Bullet. I will link Tulip Bee's website for the vinyl. I don't know if it's in stock, but I will link her website and Saya's website for the thread. All right, perfect. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Just gives it such a finished look. So I am going to cut those dog ears off the corners, and trim threads, and grab that lighter and just cinch those threads down so that they don't poke their ugly head in a place we don't want it. Yeah, I could probably trim those a little bit before I start adding fire to them. All right, so there's one exterior panel done. And I am gonna grab the next one, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. So clip them together, long edges, and sew down that long edge. Then I'm going to turn it, press those seams down, and top stitch on both sides of that seam. Use a few more clips. The other one wanted to wander a little bit, so this way that keeps it a little bit more secure. Alrighty. Just notice that's still not right. It should be under that. There we go. That looks more right. Hopefully it'll sew right now. Sounds good. all the things, you know, all the things. Seems like you kind of always have to be watching, making sure things are in good working order. And something just doesn't seem right here. It's stuck. Okay. It looks right. This doesn't look right. This looks like it's not. We keep going. All right, turn it over, finger press it, and sew on each side of that seam. If I have to, I'll switch to the cylinder, but I think we're gonna keep plugging along with this one. It seems like it's fine. Till it's not, right? I wonder if it got, when it jammed yesterday, this got bent somehow. I don't know. It's okay. It's sewing. Let's loosen the tension a little, or tighten. Top thread needs to be tightened. All right, we'll see. Little tension bar is just not, something isn't. Is that the problem? I think that was the problem. I think it was threaded wrong. That looks right. Okay, keep going. I'm just going to pull those last stitches of top stitching out. And you know what? This is the way it is sometimes with bag making, so we just need to keep plucking forward. It will be fine. I think everybody at some point has machine issues or thread issues or some sort of issue, and it's all a learning experience with when it comes to sewing, bag making, but sewing in general. All right, let's try it. It was sewing beautifully, so hopefully we got it now. Looks good. I think I got it. Try and try again. I appreciate your patience while I'm figuring it all out. And I am going to, let's see, tighten that just a little. Trim those threads, trim the dog ears, and keep going. All right, so there we have it. Now we are going to take our panel and we are going to, the next step is to take the panel and measure in what the pattern calls for and make a mark at the top. Actually, I want that on the top. Make a mark at the top of the exterior you just made. And it's different on both ends. One end is different than the other. So keep that in mind. All right, and I'm going to put some double-sided tape. Maybe. On the zipper. Oh, we forgot to trim our zipper. Boy, today is just full of all kinds of adventures. We'll just say adventures. All right, so we needed to trim our zipper end even. And now I am going to put some double-sided tape on all 4 sides of that zipper, top and bottom on the raw edge. I'm using the 1/8 inch. It's kind of my go-to. I use the 1/4 inch a little bit here and there. We will use it later for building the strap and the D-ring connectors. Anytime I have to fold something into the center, I'll use the 1/4 inch because it gives me more area to get that stuck to. I could also put a strip of double-sided tape on each end instead of down the middle, which maybe I'll do that because I really do prefer the 1/8 inch tape. Of course, I'm chasing the zipper all over the place because it's rolling around. Hopefully that's all still in view. One more edge, down the edge, clear down to the zipper tab at the bottom, and there we are. Let go. All right. So I'm going to take my exterior right side up, so the top and the bottom, and I am going to take the tape off the bottom right side of the zipper. So down here, my zipper opens to the left. Sorry, opens to the right, closes to the left. And get my weeding tool. Just seems to work better for me. I know I said that already. And the double-sided tape. Sometimes it's a little colder in here, so sometimes if it's too cold, it doesn't like it. All right, so I'm going to place my zipper in between those marks that I made on the exterior, keeping the top edges even. I'm going to open it a little bit. It tends to be able to place it. That's such a short little zipper, the zipper gets in the way. All right, there we go. Keeping the edges even and matching the beginning and the end to those marks. Perfect. All right, now we're going to take the tape off that back side of the zipper, and we're going to take one of our linings and we're going to lay it and make a zipper sandwich. So there's the tape off. Come on. Okay, that wasn't in a bin, it was on the floor, I confess. All right, so matching, we want to match the edge, the corner of the lining with the corner of the exterior. And we're going to pinch that together, just keeping those raw edges as even as possible. So we have right side of our exterior, zipper is wrong side down and the lining's on top of that. And I am going to use some clips to clip that in place so it doesn't want to wander on me. And we're going to follow the seam allowance in the pattern and sew that zipper in. All right. Hold the threads out of the way. Here we go. Hopefully we have no issues. So far, so good. I'm going to open the zipper all the way up and keep sewing till I get close to it, and then I'm going to shut it so I don't risk sewing over the zipper. Needle always in the fabric anytime you stop and have to move something around. All right. There we go. All the way to the end. And back stitch. All right, looks good. Perfect. So we have our zipper, exterior and interior. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lay our lining to the left side and we're gonna push that zipper over and finger press. We are pressing that seam allowance we just made towards the exterior. So see, all that fabric goes this way towards the exterior. We're going to kind of finger press that down, then we're going to top stitch along that zipper. Not the lining, just the exterior and the zipper. We are not going to top stitch on that lining. My thread was starting to shred again. I'm gonna clean that needle off while I'm here. Could be sticky. I might change the needle here in a little bit too. I had a few issues with my machine yesterday, so I might have to have my husband look at it again tonight. We're gonna push through this project though. I've tried to get this project done I don't know how many times, and so we're gonna push through and get it done. All right, so top stitching along that zipper with the seam allowance towards the exterior. Seems to be going well. Just testing, just testing. Get to the end, we're gonna back stitch. Perfect. And it's skipping stitches. All right, we're gonna move over to the cylinder. It's skipping stitches. I'm not quite sure what's going on with it. Okay, so the other machine's not working. I will have to look at it later, but let's just carry on. We are going to top stitch the edge next to the zipper, keeping the lining out of the way. So we're just going to use the Old Faithful cylinder arm and keep going with the project. Perseverance, right? Back stitch. All right. Perfect. I am blessed that I have another machine to use. All right, and I need to move those stitches up. I should have checked that. My top stitching stitches are a little bit too small, but we got it now. All right, so we're going to repeat that process. I've taken the paper off of the back of the tape, and I am going to put that panel right side down, matching the edges of the zipper and the edges of the sides of the panel. So this, we want square here and here, and we want this to be square. So that looks good. And then we're going to take the other tape off the back or the wrong side of the zipper, maybe. And let's try this end. There we go. And then we're going to lay that other lining panel right side down on top of that zipper, making our zipper sandwich and keeping all those edges even, matching the edges of the lining with the edges of the exterior we built. And we will clip in place and sew at the recommended seam allowance. We got this, right? All right, all right, here we are back at the machine. Hold threads. And we're gonna stitch that down. Back stitching at the beginning and the end. Can you see that? There we go. I think you should be focused in now. All right. We're going to clip our threads. Maybe. All right. So we've got that stitched in place. Clip the threads. Now we are going to take and we are going to flip the new seam out, both the lining and the other exterior on the left side, and just finger press that and then top stitch along that zipper. You know, I'm going to take a little bit of I don't like that seam. So hold please while I fix this seam a little bit. Just readjusting to a new machine. I appreciate so much your patience. That should be better. It just wasn't quite a good enough straight seam. So there we go. Now we are going to take that new panel we just attached, fold it out, and we are going to top stitch along that zipper side. This pedal is really stiff to raise my foot, so almost feel like I gotta stand on it. All right, and we're keeping our seam allowance towards the panel. We're just going to top stitch along next to that zipper. All right, perfect. You know, it clicks and grinds a little quicker. That's a good name for this. All right. So trimming threads. We have a good top stitch there. Looks great. All right. So the next step we're gonna do, well, we're gonna fold this out and just finger press that lining out. Both sides. All right, so we are gonna take this and set it aside for just a moment. And we are gonna get our D-ring tab and our D-ring. Let's see. All right, let me change positions. I'll be right there. Okay, there we are. So we're gonna take our D-ring tab and our D-ring. Let's see, I want you to focus in where I am, not up there. There we go. Okay, and we are gonna draw a line down the center of that D-ring tab. Then we're gonna put a piece of 1/4 inch double-sided tape down that center. It's not exactly even, but that's okay, I can eyeball it. All right, peel that backing off the tape and fold those raw edges to the center. If we need to clip it, we can. Looks pretty good. All right, so I'm just gonna put a couple clips in. I'm not using super strong tape. So put a couple of clips on that, then take it and I'm gonna top stitch along both sides, and to save some time, I'm gonna just down, across, and back up. The ends will be hidden in the seam allowance. All right, back at the machine, doing that top stitch. And making sure that needle's coming back up, going down a couple of stitches the other side, rotate it back, go down the other side. All right, perfect. There we are. Get the scissors and trimming that double-sided tape we don't need, and then trimming threads. We don't need to burn those or do anything to those because it's going to be in the seam. So there we go. There is our D-ring connector. So we are going to take and put our D-ring on. Matching those ends. And then I'm just gonna baste across that just to secure it. Just a couple of stitches, just enough to secure it. Always holding those threads. These machines get angry when you don't. All right, perfect. Cut threads. Sorry, I'm a little bit discombobulated. So if I keep reaching across the screen, I apologize. We're gonna make it through this. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the exterior and place this on there and then baste it down. Okay, so back with the exterior, I am going to place my D-ring tab up by the zipper where it closes and about 1 inch down. And I'm gonna clip that and then take it back to the machine and stitch it down. All right, I will be right back. All right, so we have our D-ring stitched on. I tend to forget that, so that was a good thing to remember. And then now we are gonna take the exterior. Let me zoom you out a little. All right, the exterior, and we are gonna match the edges of the exterior. I'm gonna clip those together. Along both sides. Sorry, everything's all around me. All right, we're gonna match our center seams where the lining and the exterior come together, and we're just gonna clip down the sides. And we're gonna do the same on this side, matching those edges. All the clips that didn't fall on the floor. I'll add some more clips here in just a minute, but all right. Matching these center seams to keep that even. And then all the way up. Perfect. All right. So with our exterior up, we are going to start here at the seam allowance recommended in the pattern until we get just past the lining. When we get down to the lining, we're going to increase it. We're going to so let's start over. So we're going to take and start at the upper end of this, go with our seam allowance until we get down to where that lining meets. And after we cross over that area, we're going to increase it to a 1/2 inch. We are gonna fold up these edges on the bottom at about 3/8 of an inch down here and sew them folded up. That helps us with the lining. All right, that's really fiddly. I don't know. I am not doing this pattern again. Not filming this pattern again, just so you know. All right. I don't know why this is all awkward. Our lining is a little off. That's okay. All right. So folding that up. Probably gonna go a little bit more than almost a 1/2 inch, and clip that down. We're just gonna keep going, people. So we're gonna start up here, and we're gonna sew 1/4 inch all the way down to here. This is folded up. We're going to keep that folded up, and once we hit here, we're going to increase slightly to about a 1/2 inch. So when we finish down here, we'll be at a 1/2 inch, and we're going to repeat the same on the other side. All right, here we go. I appreciate your patience, people. I really do. I have been trying to get this pattern done, and I can't tell you how many times I've sewn it and forgot to put something on it, or it didn't go right, or the machine broke. So we're just gonna keep pursuing it. It's gonna turn out cute. All right, so we just crossed over that, and we're gonna increase that seam allowance down to the bottom to a 1/2 inch, and we are gonna keep that fold and keep going. All right. Now we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side, following that pattern. So starting at the regular seam allowance up here, once we get past where they meet, we're going to increase it to that 1/2 inch. Okay, increase it. And increasing it to that 1/2 inch seam allowance. Beautiful. And it's all blurry, huh? Trimming threads. All right, so now I am going to trim the seam allowances down all along the side. I'm going to trim in this edge too, and then do the other side. I'm not really going to mess with that D-ring though, because I don't want it too short. It risks pulling out if it's too short. All right, so now we're gonna box the corners. So let's trim these. All right, so with this particular pattern, let me zoom you out. Whoops, wrong way. With this particular pattern, you want that pyramid shape. So we are going to put our fingers and pull the seams together, nesting those seams, and we're going to clip it to keep those seams together, and then clip along the edges, keeping them straight. And then we're going to sew this across the bottom at the seam allowance that's in the pattern. Holding threads as we start. All right. There we go. Looks good. I'm going to scoot this down just a bit so we can get that started. Back stitch always whenever you're doing a seam like this. Take that out, keeping it straight. There we go. There we go. All the way across. And back stitching at the end. Perfect. All right. Now we're going to cut threads and turn it. We'll see how how wonky it looks. You know what? It's okay though if it is a little bit wonky because of the issues that we've had. That is okay because somebody will love it. Somebody will give it a good home and absolutely love it. All right, and I forgot to leave the zipper open, so give me just a second while I fiddle with that now. I am sorry, but this is all the day, all in a day's sewing. I will probably end up doing this all over again. Maybe I should do bloopers. All right, there we go. Zipper's open. So we're gonna tuck that exterior in. And reach in and pull it through that lining. this tulip bee fabric is soft but stable, if that makes any sense. And so it pulls and turns very easily, but it keeps its body really well. So it's fantastic to work with. I really do like it. All right, so we got the lining turned. Now we're just gonna push that exterior through. Whoever did the birthing a bag saying was right on. It is definitely like giving birth without the pain. I'll take it without the pain. All right, and almost there. I really like this. I think it's cute. And my turning tool's at the other sewing machine, so we'll use our two tweezers. Just gonna push that through. I might make another one of these in the large. It's really cute. But you know, black leopard and black. What's not to love about that, right? There we go. Push that lining inside. Then here by our zipper tab, we're just gonna kind of push that up. Pull it up with, there we go. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? Just that little pop of color. All right, tucking the lining in just to see how that looks. Actually, even with all the issues, didn't turn out too bad. Have a few, you know, different size stitches, but they're different size. Look, that matches pretty well. All right, so that is the construction of that, with the exception is we need to close that lining. So we're gonna pull that lining back out, and because we put that fold in it, we're able to just kind of put our fingers in there and pull. But keep in mind, with this pattern, you want to match the seams together in the center. So we are gonna match those seams, get it rolled out right there. Match those seams in the center and clip it. Then we're gonna pull those sides out, lay it flat, get those seams matched, put a couple of clips in to keep it there, and then top stitch as close as we can to the edge of that fabric right here. I think you're okay. I think you can still see this well enough. All right, so top stitching, back stitch to keep that secure. Looks good. Everything's still matched. And snip, 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 and snip. All right, so we're gonna just tuck that inside. I'm gonna use that back end. See, it's rounded, so I'm not gonna damage my thing. And I'm just gonna push that lining in. Fits so nicely. I really like this. I'm going to make a large. And we can see inside. Beautiful. All right. Now we can work on our wristlet. So we'll set that aside. Okay, we're gonna build our wristlet. We're gonna take, first of all, we're gonna take our wristlet strap and draw a line down the center. And about 1.5 inches from the end, just kind of marking it a little bit. We're gonna kind of leave that open. So let's put tape between those. I'm gonna put some double-sided tape between those two marks towards the end that I made, just because it'll keep it simpler for me. You know, yeah, no, we'll do that. Right along that line. Perfect. And then get some clips here. I'm going to peel back that tape. Sorry, I keep bumping the camera. And then starting in the center, I'm going to fold those edges in. And I'm going to do both sides at once and clip and then work out, because then it'll be good. I know it'll be secure. And I am leaving a little bit of distance in between those those ends that are taped, because I'm gonna turn it and I want to make sure that it folds nicely. Otherwise it's gonna bunch up where those two pieces meet. All right, another clip there. Here, we're getting there. Okay. One more clip here. Then we're gonna, I turn around, work on the other end. Whoop, there went a clip. Does that mean it's gonna be a good day? Because it doesn't feel like it's been. Oh my word. Okay. Maybe I'll get my Juki out. And the semi-industrial older Juki. And maybe I'll have to get that out to sew some tutorials on till I can figure out what's going on with that. I think it's timing. The timing jump yesterday, we thought we had it fixed. Not sure. Not sure if it is, but okay. I do appreciate your patience. You know, sometimes life just throws you curves. You just gotta roll with it. All right. So from here, I'm gonna take my swivel hook. And this just seems like it's just blurry. All right. And I'm going to fold this enough to get that swivel hook on. That's what we want right now, is just to get that swivel hook on. Okay, so it's on and it's facing with the hook away from the seam. So now we're gonna take these two ends and we are gonna clip those together. So the two ends we left open and not folded, we're gonna clip those together and sew. I'm gonna sew them at about 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 an inch across this. All right, so sewing across that end, back stitching and securing it really well all the way across, missing the clip because we don't want to sew across the clip. There we go. Yeah, we got one machine down, we don't want to. I'm just gonna back stitch that because it did move a little. All right, all the way to the end, back stitching with the end. All right, so now we're gonna cut threads again and unclip where we have those two ends clipped together, and spread that seam allowance out. And then what we're gonna do is put another piece of double-sided tape kind of connecting these together. This will be fun doing this hanging in the air, but we can do it. So there we go. Connecting these, keeping those seams flat and kind of going over the center, and then meeting at the other piece of tape like that. Then we're going to peel the paper off the tape, the little piece we just put in, and we're going to kind of fold those outside edges to the center to continue that fold. And we may need to work with it a little bit because there's a lot of stuff there. All right, matching those center seams, leaving a little bit of a gap. And keeping it as even as we can. All right, so there we have it. So all the way around we have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking off the clips, and I'm just going to sandwich that together. Put a clip back on. I'm just going to go around the whole thing, folding and reclipping. Take the clip off, fold it in, put the clip back on. Repeat it all the way around. And when we get to our D-ring, we're still going to do that, but we're going to turn that D-ring sideways. So, like that. And keep clipping. We get to that seam, just push it a little bit. It'll be okay. If you have a hammer, you can hammer on it, or a key fob pliers, smashers. I call them squeezers, pliers for key fobs. And we're still doing that, just going on. Okay, so we've made it all the way around. We have our circle, and it's currently a 1/2 inch wide, which is our finished size. So we are going to take it to the machine, and we're going to top stitch down both sides. First down one side, then down the other at a top stitch. So I am going to get my, well, I think I got that pressed down enough. I'm going to start just before that seam and sew the rest of the way around. So here we go. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sorry. You just have to, sometimes you just have to laugh at life and what life throws you. And it's been a challenge, but we got this. And I guess if it helps somebody else who's going through a challenge figure out that you can make it through it, then hey, I guess it was worth it. And all right, we're just going to do that top stitch. We're coming to that seam, so we may need to use a hump jumper depending on your machine. Mine just went right over it. And as we sew the D-ring, we're going to slide it out of the way. And we're not sewing over any clips. So we're going to pull clips out. They're facing the wrong way. Oh well. We're going to pull clips out as we go, keeping those side seams even. Keeping that D-ring out of our way. And just keep going. I have to say, this machine, even though it's not a flatbed, and I do have a mini table, so I can get the table out and put it on and just use it, but so well. It's a beautiful machine. It's a tech sew. It's an older tech sew. Slide that one down. Which doesn't mean a thing to me. I love it. It sews beautifully. In fact, I'd really rather sew on this, but it isn't always easy. And showing, it's a lot of stopping and starting because I don't really have a place to show what I'm doing, like a tabletop on the flatbed. I've got that flat table to work with. So it's a little easier in that respect, but I love sewing on this machine. I am blessed to have it. It is a wonderful machine. And there again, I got it used. I got it off Marketplace. So if you're, I tested it out. I did my research on models, found out, what's a good reputable brand and what is maybe not so much. And I love it. In fact, I shouldn't say that. It was a surprise from my husband, but I did do the research and he knew. So, all right. Perfect. So I am going to actually turn this right side out for the next one, and I am going to top stitch on the other side at my 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and the strap will be just about done. All right. Actually, let's go back to where I started with the last one. We can keep the start and stop in the same place. There we go. Right there. All right. Cutting threads, sorry. And there you have it. Now you can put, and I probably will put, a rivet through this to keep that D-ring in one place, but it looks good. And we can get our little Atlantis pouch. I zoom you out, and there we have it. It is a cute, cute, cute little pattern. I really like this fabric. I like the vinyl. I really like the feel of it. Tulip Bee rocked it. All right. Thank you so much for putting up with things and joining me. All right. Thank you so much. Wasn't that fun? Hey, it's real life, and sometimes some things happen. It did turn out really cute in the end. I really do think I filmed that like 6 times, and with the machine not working, it was just easier to switch to the cylinder. Thank you so much for being patient and sticking it out. If you're watching this, you stuck it through. I am going to link the pattern, Tulip Bee, Saya thread for her thread, all below. Like if you liked it, hit that thumbs up, subscribe. Thank you so much. I appreciate you letting me be real and showing you sometimes you just have to push through when things don't go right. All right, well, thank you so much. 6 days of Christmas we got down. We have 6 more to go, and happy sewing.